Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela. So, it's been a minute. It's Friday, the 13th of May, 2022. And all day long I've been seeing, because yesterday I saw Candy Soul and Soil's video of the top 10 most curiosity decks. Basically the premise is that if you had a curiosity cabinet, what decks would be in there? And I've been seeing all day today other people joining in and doing it, and I'm like, because I've changed my list like 4 times. I did not realize when I started putting in names for this tag that I had so many. I thought I had maybe 4 or 5. Turns out, on top of this 10, I probably have another 10. So I have probably 20 decks that are just decks that could be interchangeable in this curiosity cabinet. The second I heard the word curiosity cabinet, I thought of the Carnival series on American Horror Story. I think it was season 4 or 5. That was the Carnival. That's what I thought of. This macabre, morbid mix of oddities and the horrifying, if you will. And I got 10 decks and then I back up, like a runners up, because I couldn't not add it. But I did not add any Halloween decks. I mean, I could have done the Zombie Tarot. I could have done the Santa Muerto Tarot. I could have done Haunted House Tarot. But I chose not to do any Halloween decks because just the Halloween decks alone would have hit my 10. And I have decks that are more curious than that because those to me are just Halloween decks. There is a couple others like I didn't do any of the. I have one Patrick Valenza deck, but I have the Deviant Moon. I have the new. I've been using it. The Triumph della Luna Pips edition. Illustrated Pips edition. I have the Paradoxical Rose Mercedes version, and then I have another deck. I'm like, I'll just use that, and that it could be interchanged with any of those because those are all to me oddity decks as well, and that would have took up like half my list right there. So I whittled it down to one of them. That being said, this list can change at any moment because I have a lot. But when I think of the Carnival American Horror Story, these are kind of the decks that I went with because of that. Because when I think of curiosity or oddities, that's what I think of. So we have 10 decks and an extra. To kick it off, I'm going to go with my Dream Keepers Tarot. This deck is, and it's published by U.S. Games. Oh, almost dropped them all on the ground, and we had the weather here is on crack because or it's what do you call it, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, it's crazy because we had last week it was cold all week, rained every day almost. Mother's Day, last Saturday it was 70 degrees. Mother's Day it was raining and cold, and then since then it's been almost 100 degrees every day, and I'm like, where did spring go? Like, we have not had a spring at all. It went from winter to summer. And it's been very humid. Today it rained all day today until about 2 o'clock, and then it stopped. The sun came out. It was hotter that you would never know that it rained, except the ground is still wet. But I live in the Midwest in the US, and that's what it's expected. It's crazy. And it's actually not as hot as I thought it would be at this time of day, since it rained. So it's cool. So back to the decks. There's the backs, and this deck is one that I have yet to use it for dream interpretations. I did try to sit with it, and I did work with it, but she's like got a bird mask on, and I'm like, why? With cards like this is why it would be in my curiosity cabinet. Yeah. It is a very dream-like state. Like, these are things that you probably would encounter in a dream. And that's what this deck is geared for, like dreams and stuff like that. But this is the first deck I thought of when I thought of what would go in my curiosity, oddities, and oddities type of cabinet. And this would be the first one. Because even though it's maybe dream-like, it's just some of the images are weird. And I think that is what makes this deck special. I'm trying to find the, like here, she's got her dress as like a scale, or that's her as a fish scale. Interesting. Here she doesn't have a head, but it looks like a moon, part of a half a moon, that is her face on a real body. And look, she's got like spider legs or dragon wings. Just very interesting. And this is like he's wearing the mask. Very interesting, this deck. And there we got the King of Cups the same way. He's got the moon face and he's facing the other direction. Here he's got 4 hands. Don't know why. Probably my favorite card in here, the Temperance card. Just some weirdness with this deck. And you really have to sit with it because the book is fantastic. Just this full, they're walking on heads in the ground. The heads are in the floor. Crazy. Just weird. And so this, like I said, was the first deck I thought of when I thought of more of a creep factor. And that's what you want in a curiosity cabinet, is kind of that creep factor. So that's deck 1. Sorry, I kind of gushed over it a little bit. Deck 2, the Surrealist Tarot. And these are not in any particular order. Published by Los Scarabero. If you have this deck and it's not in your curiosity cabinet, why? This is like the ultimate curiosity cabinet deck right here. It's crazy. The skies in this are gorgeous. I don't know why, but I'm in love with the skies in this deck. And I really haven't used it a lot. But it is totally it needs its own curiosity cabinet, let's say. It's crazy. But I love the little white book. Usually Los Scarabero has a little white book. It's just keywords. This one actually gives you a kind of a description of what's going on in the photo or the image. And I love that. Yeah, this would totally be an oddities, totally curiosity cabinet situation. I pull this one a lot. Justice card. Crazy. And we have, the skies are just gorgeous in this. Just gorgeous. But that is the Surrealist Tarot. Totally curiosity cabinet worthy, I would say. And I have so many decks that could win in this. I was going to put my Stretch Tarot in here too, but I use it all the time, and I put it in a lot of videos. So the one deck that is like the spokesperson deck, Mildred Payne's Secret Pocket Oracle. This is the bigger version. I have both versions. Again, this needs no introduction. It is a total, and you might say, why pick this deck? If you have the Deviant Moon and the other ones that I mentioned earlier, why would you pick this one? It just seems like it's keywords with pictures. This is the reason I fell in love with Patrick Valenza's work, this deck. And the second I picked it up, I started doing mediumistic reads with it. Stuff was coming through. When I pick this deck up and start using it, my clairvoyance turns on, my claircognizance turns on. All these things start triggering with this deck. And I found that very fascinating. And this deck is so accurate, it's creepy. And that's why it's in my curiosity cabinet. Right there. Because it's so dead on accurate, it's not even funny. It's creepy. So that is my secret Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle deck. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I've used the pocket size I take with me all the time everywhere. This one I made a little pouch for. It kind of matches the colors in the deck. Some of the green and browns. And it's even got a matching like little brown button to match like the backgrounds. It was perfect. And I made this pouch, not measuring it for anything, and it literally fits this deck perfectly. I'm like, whoa, it was meant to be. So that was 3 decks. So we got another dream. This is In Dreams Oracle and Guidebook. This is an indie deck. This is by, again, US Games. It is by Boris Indicroft. This deck is a newer deck to me. But again, if you're wanting to, and the backs are gorgeous. The whole deck is gorgeous, really. If you're wanting to really dive into dream interpretations, this is a good deck for that. And it's creepy at the same time. It's almost like, for example, like some of the things I watched in the Carnival series, season 5 of American Horror Story. It's 4 or 5, one of the two. I think it's season 4. Excuse me. Some of the things and some of the images and some of the scenes, you're like, what exactly am I looking at? Is my brain really seeing what I think it's seeing? That's what I see in this deck. It's like, what is my brain trying to work out that I'm actually seeing here? And again, that's why it's in my curiosity cabinet. It's gorgeous coloring. And it's a hard, deep deck. I'm actually thinking of pairing it with my Dreamkeeper's Tarot. I have not yet, but I think they would go fantastic together. This one's got a word on it. I think this is the extra. Maybe not. There's an extra card in here somewhere. But it's gorgeous. And it's odd. I love weird and strange decks. I've said this. That's probably why I have so many, and I didn't realize I had so many. I like the weird and strange. So that is the In Dreams Oracle. And that's amazing. And next, what collection would not be complete without the Antique Anatomy? If you've got it, it's got to be in your curiosity cabinet. Why? Because it's bones. And I have edged it in a marker, like wine color marker. I love this deck. That's why it would be in your curiosity cabinet. Things like that. That's why it should be in anybody's curiosity cabinet. Because of all the skeletons and the heart here. Or the brain. Just crazy. But yeah, this on top of the Cyrilla's Tarot. These two I think scream the most curiosity cabinet. It's a beautiful deck though. I don't really use it very often because like that one. Total curiosity cabinet card. Look at this, different feet, hands, and the heart. When I first got this, because it is more of a pep deck, I wasn't reading pep decks. And it's kind of gone to the back corner since I've started reading Pip decks. So I need to get this back out because I do love this deck. And I love that the elixirs or the cups have different, when they do have labels in there, it's got different things on the labels. Pelvis bone, hip bones. It's crazy, but I love it because it's just enough odd and strange that I love it. And I love the botanicals in it as well. Looks like a whole jawbone there. Crazy. Yeah, but it's beautiful. Let's see about some others here. Beauty potion. Look at this one. Black flowers. Awesome. Fertility tonic. The Hierophant. Upside down. And it looks like a cross for the Hierophant. Found that interesting. The brain. It's a love potion. I always got the heart. I thought that was a brain. I love this one here. The colors in it are just gorgeous. And I'm dropping it. Dropped it on the ground. So that is my Antique Anatomy. If you're going to have a curiosity cabinet, this has to be in it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck, too. Antique Anatomy. Beautiful. Put that in the box later. Next we have, and I don't know who the publisher is on that. I think it's Abrams Notary. Yeah, Abrams Notary down there. Right, where that got published. That one got published. Then we have, published by U.S. Games, the Omega Land Tarot. This is a post-apocalyptic, what do you call it? This is actually a game too. These are the backs. I have not tried to play it as a game. I've just used it as a tarot deck. But it's got scoring cards and how to play the game. And then it's got the little white book, tarot deck, and card game. But this is like a, what do you call it? Backs. What do you call it? It's one of those... Some of it's gruesome. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. Where bomb shelter people, kind of like that, where they go hide out in shelters underground and stuff like that. That's what this deck is. And I think that's the point of the game, is to be the survivor in it. There's so much that makes me laugh in this deck. And it's not a Halloween deck, which I think it would pair well with my zombie tarot, actually. I haven't tried that, but I'm just thinking about it. Yeah. This deck is weird and strange, and it definitely would go in my oddities cabinet. Because, look at all they have just soup. Everything is about the soup. The coins, I think, is the suit of soup. Like he's eating a can of soup on a bike. And they all got their canteens full of water. There's people shooting people with arrows. They're hoarding the cans. Yeah. This is probably the second or third deck I thought of when I thought of what would go in my curiosity cabinet. Definitely this deck. And I thought for the longest time this was a... sorry, the sun's moving. This was a indie deck, but it's not. It's mass market. It's U.S. Games. You can get it on Amazon. I think it's like $15. But it's weird and strange, and I love it. I just keep dropping cards. That's the King of Swords. I dropped on the ground. So yeah, that was the Omega Land Tarot. And that went right in between the trees, right in my face, as it usually does when I'm out here doing a video. But I only got a few decks left. So that was the Omega Land Tarot. Pretty cool. Kind of gruesome, but it's cool. Next we got Tarot Sweet Twilight. This would not be complete without this deck either. Here's the backs. This deck is the Weird and Strange. I have a hard time using this deck. I have it because it bugged the living piss out of me until I got it. And I'm like, I don't want you. I don't care to want you. Why? And even after I got it, I did a walkthrough. I did a interview. I'm not drawn to this deck at all. Like, I want to be drawn to this deck because it is right up my alley. Part of the reason why I think I got it is for dark reasons, like disturbing reasons that I need to work through. Because a friend and I stopped speaking right as I was starting my spiritual journey. She just one day, after 15 years of being friends, decided I was a worthless person and didn't want to spend time with me anymore, and it broke my heart. I think in some ways I'm still in mourning for that relationship. It's been over almost 4 years. But I think this deck reminds me of her. She was that outgoing, dye your hair, take all the risk kind of person, and I was never that way. And I think this deck, if I could sum up a person in a deck, this would be her. This deck is her. And I think that's why I bought it and why I can't get rid of it. Even though I may not be drawn to it. It's like I'm holding on to a piece of that relationship through this deck, if that makes any sense. But it's also on the Weird and Strange side. And for that, I want to love it because I love the Weird and Strange. I don't read with it. I just keep it around. The mailman's going. We got cars piling up behind him here. Craziness. Yep, so that is the Tarot of the Sweet Twilight. And I think the Candy had this deck in her 10 decks. And that's my dog barking. My son just let her out. Now she's crying. And I did edge this in black. I didn't realize that the fronts were blue, like a dark navy blue, until after I edged it. I'm like, I would have done a blue instead of the black, but it works. That is Tarot of the Sweet Twilight. Published by Low Scare Barrel. So, we're down to 3 decks. 2 of the 10. The Magic of You Oracle by Fiona Horn. This is published by Rockpool Publishing. Again, when you think of the macabre and the oddities, this is a deck for you. Here's the backs. Total oddity deck here. And someday I'm going to get the Oracle of Oddities. There's 3 or 4 versions of it now, and they're all different. I want them all, but I can't afford it right now. But this deck, I paid $14 when it first came out. I think it's $20 now on Amazon. It's a hard hitter. It hits you where it hurts. And it is so weird. Some of the imagery is kind of hard to look at. Some of the imagery is like, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? Is my brain making out that right? Because you just want to be like, But then with the words and the keywords and the book, it's an amazing deck. Amazing. I love this deck. And I used it so much when I first got it. I probably didn't put it down for 6 months. And this is the card that made me buy this deck. Panacea. There's a solution for every problem. And it just hit me at a time where I was like, what is happening? Gorgeous. Gorgeous cards. Look at that. Craziness. This one, Maximus. How can you feed others when your own table is empty? Just hit you where it counts, man. Just like, what? Yeah, so this would be another one that went in my curiosity cabinet. For sure. And we're going to end it kind of on a lighter note. So we have the 5-cent tarot. And I almost added the oracle in here because it's even stranger, but I never use it. The 2-penny oracle. But this 5-cent tarot is the 2nd edition, hence the yellow book. I got the lavender edge and the lavender back version. This is more of a steampunky, but also kind of, it's a lot of animals, but there's a steampunk vibe to it, but there's also this weird and strange vibe as well that I get with this deck. And I get that with all of Madame Clara's decks. And it's got like a carnival type backing. There's this mystical carnival sense with all of their decks. And that's why this deck is in here, because I get this look at the, I mean, it's like you're going to pay 5 cents to go see the bearded lady or the strong man or something like that. That's what I think of when I think of this deck, which also hinted me back to the carnival season of American Horror Story. All ties in together for me. But I love this deck. I used it a lot when I first got it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to wait for the 2-penny oracle. And then I didn't get along with the 2-penny oracle, and then I had just stopped using this tarot deck too. I think this one comes in waves. When I really want to work with an animal deck that I don't have to think about, this is the deck I use because it's got keywords in reverse and regular keywords, and I love it. Love it. And the buttons are pentacles, star. The cups are cups. Needles are swords. There's a 2 of buttons. He's balancing everything. Love it. The Knight of matches are wands. And I think this blends Marseille and RWS together, like the regular tarot and the Marseille together. And that's one of the reasons I bought this, because I'm like, well, if I want to learn Marseille, this is a great jumping off point deck for that. And yeah, I love it. The colors in this are beautiful. The 2-penny oracle, I have so many issues with the deck. But if I ignore all the words and the keywords on it, I can use it. And it pairs with this well. Gorgeous. So that was my number 10 of my Curiosity Cabinet decks. Now, for number 11, which is, I didn't put this back in the other, no wonder it was loose. I have one that's like a runner-up, just because I bought it. It told me to buy it. I bought it. I've never used it. I actually watched my walkthrough of it earlier today and was like, I think I need to work with this deck, because I knew the second I bought it that I wouldn't work with it then, but I would someday work with it, and that's why I bought it. And it is I can never remember the name of it. It was on Make Playing Cards. It's not cheap. MakePlayingCards.com. Sorry, I should have pulled this up before the video. Take me a second here to pull it up. Look at my order history. It's been a while since I bought it, but I know exactly where it's at. It is called My Third Eye, a Contemporary Deck. It's not cheap. I edged it in black because that's the backs. And then the black bled all over the cards. And I'm like, what is that? That's the Fool. But this is a more contemporary style deck. I think it's beautiful. Almost all of the people are women, which I also love. It gives this empowerment to female. It gives female empowerment in this deck. But it also has some odd things going on, some sexual things going on. So it could also be like that's the Eight of Swords. That's usually my favorite card. This one is a little weird. But I think it gives off this energy that's like female empowerment, sexual empowerment. And I love that. I don't know what it is about this deck. I don't know why I bought it. Just something told me to buy it. Queen of Swords, look at her. I mean, she's taking back her power, and I love that. And as I was looking through it today, watching my video while I was at work, I'm like, I think it's time to work with this. And I do think it's time to work with this deck. Now that I've done tarot for a little while, I mean, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous deck. And it's, to me, a little on the weird and strange side. But it's the Third Eye deck, which to me means it's meant to be read intuitively. So there you go. No matter what's in the image, if you sit with it, I think your intuition is going to take over, and there's things that you can discern from this deck. Yep. So yeah, that was the Third Eye Contemporary Tarot on my cleaning cards. Still on there. Beautiful deck. So that was my tag to my VR to Candy Soul and Soil, my top 10 curiosity decks. I will, once I get this uploaded, I will go ahead and add her link below to her video. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification button for any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.